And we're continuing with the 12th chapter of the Treasure of Alpheus Winterborn. The flood is hitting Husak, and Anthony has had a couple of thoughts that didn't quite carry through. Something about reading only half of poems and a stuck weather vane that looks like a reindeer on top of the library. Let's find out what happens. It was an exciting night in the town of Husak. The National Guard units were called out, and khaki-colored trucks and jeeps rumbled through the streets. The guardsmen were there to direct the people who were being evacuated and to prevent looting. They wore brown uniforms and brown helmets, and they carried rifles with bayonets on the end of them. Sound trucks rolled up and down the streets of Husak, blaring instructions. Then the electrical storm hit. Thunder rumbled and lightning flashed, and more rain came pelting down. Police cars roared past Anthony's house, sirens screaming and blue lights flashing. Inside the Monday home, things were at 6s and 7s. Everybody was doing something, rushing here, rushing there, unplugging lights, turning off the furnace, checking this, checking that, getting ready for the flood. Mrs. Monday packed some suitcases and made some sandwiches in case there wasn't anything to eat up at the academy. Mr. Monday went down to the basement and helped Keith and Anthony bring newspapers and jars of pickled fruit up to the kitchen. Mrs. Monday had warned her husband not to work too hard on account of his bad heart, but he pitched in and helped anyway. About 8 o'clock that evening, Anthony was in his room packing his own small suitcase. He felt excited the way people often do when there is a crisis of some kind, war or a hurricane or a tornado or flood. Outside, sirens wailed and sound trucks blared, thunder rolled, and from his window, Anthony could see lightning flashing fitfully, lighting up jagged cloud banks for brief seconds. A long line of cars was moving past the house. The red reflections on their taillights stained the streets. On the corner was a police car with a flashing blue light, and Anthony could see a policeman in a yellow slicker waving a flashlight with a red plastic cone on the end of it. "Anthony, are you getting packed up, or are you daydreaming as usual?" his mother called. "I'm packing, Ma!" Anthony turned away from the window and started throwing clothes into his suitcase. He often daydreamed when he was doing something, like drying the dishes or stacking books at the library. It was a habit of his. Now, although he was excited and was supposed to be hurrying, he drifted off again. All sorts of images came to his mind. He thought about the stuck weather vane and the reindeer on top of the tower. He thought about that mocking, grinning half-moon on the front of the library and the sign underneath that said, "Believe only half of what you read." All of a sudden, for no reason at all, everything came together in his mind. The things he had been trying to make sense of all day suddenly did make sense. His face lit up. He knew now, as if by magic, he knew where the real treasure of Alpheus Winterborn was. And that is the end of chapter 12.